Hey YouTube, in this video I'm going to give you a few tips on what to do if your electric bike keeps losing power. Now this video is for when you've tried everything else. There's already a lot of guides and tips on the internet on what to do. For example, there should be an error code on the LCD screen telling you what the issue is. There could be flashing lights on the battery telling you there's an issue there. You can take it to the shop, they can do tests. If none of that's worked and you're about ready to throw the bike away or give it away, just give up. Here are a few final tips. So first of all, the most obvious things is to check all the cables are connected and to check that the sensor is clean. The sensor is either between the pedal arms or it's on the wheel. If that's not clean and it gets dirty, it can lose the sense that it's moving and stop giving you assistance. If those two things don't work, if you can't hear any issues in the motor itself, if the motor's not working, you'll get a sense for that. Something's out of place, something's rattling, it doesn't have tension in it. If that's not working, I would say the problem has to be the controller. The controller looks like this. And this is the brains of the bike. Basically, this is telling the electric bike how much power it needs to draw from the battery, transfer to the motor. It's like a CPU. So it's good news, bad news. Now with these, what I've noticed is cheap bike shops like Decathlon, they don't want to fix this, either because they haven't had the training, they don't know how to do it, or because it like invalidates their own warranty, so then they'll have to replace even more if they take it apart. But at places like Decathlon, I've had this twice, you keep telling them that the power is going off and they take it to the shop, they take it to a warehouse, wherever, regional experts, they give it you back, they say it's fine, and it's not. You start riding, maybe you have a little bit of a boost and then it dies. For me, the problem is something in the controller is loose, like a wire connection. And that's why it only happens intermittently. For example, when you squeeze on your brakes, that cable can move one of the other cables, one of the power cables that goes ultimately to the controller. It can move it a little bit and give it a boost, or it can cut it if the wires are loose. Now I'm going to show you inside this, and don't do this because it'll totally invalidate whatever warranty you have. You can see how many little diodes and connections and wires going into this main power point here. If one of these is loose, you're going to have terrible problems. So what can you do? You've got a few options at this point. If this is the final thing you can do. One option is you find another second-hand bike, like the same make and model, and you just swap the parts over. So if that other bike's got problems with the motor or the battery, well, your motor and battery is fine. You just need their bike with the good controller in it. The other option is to replace the controller itself. Now that is good news, bad news. The good news is it's just taking out screws. And I'm going to show you a bag of screws like that. These are all the screws that I took out when I had to remove the controller, because it's surrounded by layers and layers of like covers. On these cheaper bikes, it's at the back. You have this holding it in place. Then you have this on top to protect it. Then you have this case. But all of this, it's just screws. You need a Phillips head screwdriver and you can take it all apart. And on these cheaper Decathlon bikes, the controller's at the end. So the battery slots in here, the controller was right here. And you can see it slots in at this end piece and comes through here, like that. So it's just screws, that's easy. You can take out screws and just keep them all safe. And the other good news is almost every part has a QR code. So you can scan the exact model of controller that you need. It's also written, I've noticed, on a lot of different parts. So you've got the name and model number and a QR code to find it. That's the good news. The bad news is these controllers seem very specific for each model. It's not like Decathlon or the supermarket brands have bought one generic controller. They all seem different, to be different models. They may not fit in the exact part in the case. So you need to have that exact controller, and to order it may be a challenge because these are older models, the newer technology comes out. So for this controller, which I needed to replace my other electric bike, there was two available, one in Lithuania and one in England, and I'm in Belgium, and it's not easy to get. And the one in Lithuania was about 100 and something euros. The one in England was about £60, so 70 euros. So if you can find that exact model, order it, but it may take some time to arrive. And then you just put it in the place, close all the screws, and it should be okay. If not, try and get the same model and swap the parts over. Hope that's been useful, giving you some ideas or giving you something to talk about with the shop. You can ask them if they keep giving you the bike back and the same problem keeps happening. Have you checked the controller? How did you try it? Did you use, voltmeters to check the circuits in the controller? Is it worth replacing the controller completely? How do you know if it is or isn't? You can kind of test them a little bit. If you've been through this situation, please stick it in the comments below. Please like and subscribe for more videos giving you tips on electric bikes. Thanks.